what happens when love meets death on camera, and should we be watching? The 21st Camden International Film Festival in Maine launched with what might be the most emotionally charged opening night in festival history. But here's where it gets controversial. The centerpiece was a documentary that captures the final chapters of a terminal cancer patient's life, raising uncomfortable questions about the boundaries between art and exploitation. Come See Me in the Good Light, directed by Ryan White, doesn't just tell a love story. It dissects one under the microscope of impending death. The film chronicles the relationship between renowned poets Andrea Gibson and Megan Falley as they navigate Gibson's cancer diagnosis in 2021, followed by a devastating recurrence that would ultimately prove fatal. And this is the part most people miss. The documentary manages to find extraordinary joy and laughter in what should be unbearable circumstances, challenging everything we think we know about how to face mortality. The Sundance Film Festival audience first witnessed this intimate portrayal in January, but the story took a heartbreaking turn when Gibson passed away on July 14th, falling just short of their 50th birthday. This timing transforms the documentary from a hopeful cancer journey into something far more complex, a posthumous love letter that some might argue crosses ethical boundaries. At Thursday night's screening at Rockland's Strand Theatre, audiences witnessed something unprecedented. Megan Falley making her first public appearance since losing her spouse. When moderator Beattie Finzi requested that Falley share her personal reflections, the poet revealed words she had penned just one day after Andrea's death. A moment that raises the question, is there a point where documentation becomes voyeurism? The morning I awakened to a world without Andrea, Falley recounted to the hushed audience, I managed to write my first poetic line in what felt like forever. Come back to me as lightning, I begged the blank page. A certain snap in the sky, her sleep-deprived, grief-stricken poem continued, cataloging every possible form she wished for Andrea's return, spanning all conceivable weather patterns, the complete range of plant and animal life, even debris floating in water. Falley paused, injecting unexpected levity. I'm grateful I managed to include some elaborate, flowery language. Andrea would have absolutely hated all that pretentious stuff. The audience's laughter felt both appropriate and somehow wrong in the context. She continued her emotional reading. Every possible shade across the emotional spectrum, rage and amazement, artistic inspiration and yearning, belief and skepticism. Come back to me as doubt, I pleaded. Visit me as that internal voice insisting I'm reading too much into everything, fantasizing it all. Appear as the complete moss of faith for just 24 hours. Then return as something impossible to deny. Our initials mysteriously carved into a tree we'd never encountered. My darling, I cannot endure losing you. Allow me to rediscover you in absolutely everything. But here's where the story takes an almost unbelievable turn. Celebrated author Glennon Doyle and Olympic soccer champion Abby Wambach, after seeing Falley's public post, sent her a photograph of Andrea and Megan's initials actually carved into the tree in their own front yard. They're truly remarkable human beings, Falley added, though one has to wonder about the psychological impact of such coincidences during acute grief. Director Ryan White attended the screening alongside producer Jessica Hargrave and Falley herself, creating an atmosphere that felt part memorial service, part film promotion, a combination that might make some viewers uncomfortable. Andrea's absence is overwhelming, White confessed to the audience. It's been merely 2 months since we lost them. Andrea managed to attend our Sundance premiere, but after that, they essentially stopped all travel. Typically at these events, Andrea and Meg would appear behind us on video calls, while Jess and I remained relatively quiet. The fact that this dynamic has permanently changed feels absolutely devastating. White's emotional testimony continued. This project has fundamentally altered both our lives. Jess and I have maintained our friendship since childhood, collaborating on films since we were 9 years old. This particular documentary provided the most fulfilling creative experience we've ever shared. The phrase "privilege of a lifetime" gets carelessly overused, but creating this film, and I'm certain Andrea would challenge me on this if they were here, represents an unimaginable honor in my professional journey. If this becomes the pinnacle of career fulfillment, if this serves as the crowning achievement of experiencing such privilege, I'm completely at peace with that outcome. Producer Hargrave reflected on how her time with Gibson and Falley fundamentally changed her worldview, though her comments raise questions about whether filmmakers should be so personally invested in their subjects' lives. The overarching lesson I absorbed was learning to treasure ordinary moments and feel genuine gratitude for current circumstances, recognizing their temporary nature, Hargrave explained. I understand nothing lasts forever, though I cannot predict when change will arrive. I often tell myself I have these next 3 weeks, which resonates because we truly don't know what's approaching. Honestly, I cannot guarantee I even have those 3 weeks, but I choose to believe I do. So how will I utilize them? Will I waste time worrying about ultimately meaningless concerns or getting frustrated with someone cutting me off in traffic? Absolutely not. If these might be my final 3 weeks, I'll spend them completely differently. The documentary has accumulated impressive recognition, securing top jury prizes at both Seattle International Film Festival and Boulder International Film Festival, plus audience awards at Boulder, Sundance, Provincetown International Film Festival, Cleveland International Film Festival, and Hot Docs in Toronto. The film makes its global debut on Apple TV Plus this November 14th. Though some might question whether such intimate final moments should be available for mass consumption. When Finzi, who serves as co-director of Doc Society, asked Falley to recommend one of Gibson's books for newcomers to the poet's work, her response was refreshingly straightforward. I consistently believe the most recent poetry represents an artist's finest work, so I definitely suggest you better be lightning. But here's the question that lingers. In our content-hungry culture, where does legitimate artistic documentation end and grief exploitation begin? Should such profoundly personal final chapters be shared with global audiences, or does this documentary serve a greater purpose in helping others face their own mortality? What do you think? Is filming someone's final battle with terminal illness an act of love or an invasion of privacy? Does the artistic merit justify the intimate exposure, or should some moments remain sacred and undocumented? Share your thoughts. This is exactly the kind of conversation that needs to happen as we navigate the ethics of documentary filmmaking in our oversharing age.